Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the GosuGamers Pro Tips with myself, the Eternal J. Good to see you again. Hope you've enjoyed the last couple of videos we've been putting out here, and once again we're back with even more professional tips to help you improve your game in CSGO. Of course, I should mention to you all that this video series has been brought to you in association with the Pinnacle Cup. The second edition of the Cup is currently well into its Swiss stage. Some of those bigger name teams in the Tier 2 space are now descending from the heavens. That's the right phraseology to try seeing if they can compete for the $100,000 prize pool. So make sure you're tuning in to all of the action over on Twitch, because we've still got a few more matches to play in round one of our main Swiss stage, and a few more matches off the back of that as well. Still a couple of weeks left for you to get your Counter-Strike action in, of course, in the Pinnacle Cup. So in the last video, I talked about my warm-up routine. I gave you my 3 steps to success and how to get yourself primed and ready for any particular Counter-Strike match. Well, now we move from the warm-up to the match itself, as today we're going to be taking a look at one of my personal gameplay videos and one of my personal demos that I had only a few weeks ago. And this match in particular was taken from one of my Faceit games. I don't play too many Faceit pugs these days, but what I do is play with my 10-man's clan over on our Faceit hub. The Thick Squad are the boys and girls who are able to provide their support and kindly lend their time to me to be able to make this video and to be able to make this matchup. So big shout outs to all the boys involved. I really do appreciate all the time you've given. And I will also add that these guys are also really capable players. Like, some of them are playing in open, and I'm nowhere near that level. So these guys are well beyond my skill group, and that definitely will show over the course of this gameplay. So don't be too harsh, but I don't think it can be that bad, you know? Like, Counter-Strike is Counter-Strike. I think any player can be able to do well. So, you know, what could potentially go so wrong? Oh, God. So you remember that warm-up video I mentioned a moment ago that I did last week? Yeah, I didn't follow any of the steps before going into this matchup, so you can see what that will end up leading to. Yes, Brucey, let's not talk about that. That's probably a very good idea, I feel like, in that particular context. That was one hell of a whiff, though. I guess we could start with the demo review by taking a look at how I absolutely do suggest that you actually do warm up, because I think that clip right there is a prime example of what happens when you don't warm up. As I mentioned before, if you're watching the last video, definitely go back and watch that if you haven't done so already. I mentioned how the main steps to success when it comes to warming up is being able to train your aim, train your kills, and train your decision making. Well, I had none of those things there involved in that particular kill. I didn't have the aim on point. That was pretty disastrous crosshair placement. I didn't pick and choose my right moment. I didn't get the kill, obviously, and I didn't make the decision that ultimately should have been taken in that particular case. What I probably should have done in that position was burst fire, tap fire, or do some sort of a controlled spray at the very least. Not that absolute manic stuff that we tried out on that one. A bit more patience, a bit more time definitely would have gotten me that kill, and it might not have cost my team the round. So this match is being played on Train, as you can probably be able to tell. Not a map that's part of the official map pool anymore, but still a map that we pretty much enjoy playing quite frequently. And I did notice a little something that I've been doing as of late in this particular B hole. I tried to go aggressive into the B ramp, but unfortunately the angle of attack, or the angle of defense I should say, wasn't exactly great. So usually when you play this particular position here on ramp, you need to be able to peek away very, very quickly. And instead what I was doing was I was facing way too far out. Now, you've probably seen this position on a lot of professional matches. And definitely is usually, like, from the naked eye and what the untrained eye, probably a position that seems to seem pretty common, I think. But in reality, if I take a look at things and flip it towards the other side, you can see how much of my character is actually exposed here. So at times it's unusual to see from your own perspective. So what you really need to do is just be able to train yourself to be a little bit more passive when it comes to taking contact here, and especially be a bit more disciplined when it comes to taking the fights. If you're going to see a player, if you're going to play contact to that position, you want to rotate back immediately. But unfortunately, because I was too far out, because I was too far wide in terms of the angles hold, it was very easy for my opponent to be able to pre-fire me and get kills pretty consistently. And this particular angle actually cost my team a very, very big round, as I'm going to demonstrate right here, because here on round 9, I hold the angle, I get to position, I try and get the kill off on that ramp position. The guy's way too quickly. He gets me in an instant on his peak, and then he basically just forces forward into the B side because he realizes that there's only one player actually holding at this point in the game. It's kind of a decent, it's a decent amount of information that's gone the way of the T side. And the end result, if you take a look at the minimap, was actually that my squad ended up being a bit too hesitant to be able to hold the A side. They held back over towards Old Bomb, they held back over at Connector, and then when the second guy got killed as well, they all fully rotated. But that was just a lurk play. It wasn't a full-blown execution. So as soon as that rotation came in, the T side were able to force forward, get into the A bomb site, and while they were so busy dealing with one major harasser over on the B play, they basically took over the whole thing. And that whole round fell apart was because I was unable to hold that B ramp angle. I was unable to get the kills, and I was unable to hold presence there. I'm not really a big B player, but I was forced to play this position, although now that I'm thinking about it, I probably have been playing B a lot lately, so it might be worth it to probably practice that, and probably to practice some of the utility that I use in this position as well, because it's pretty important to be able to utilize smokes in this context, because you can gain some pretty serious brown halls control if you really want to regress, and unfortunately here in round 12, I completely whiffed my smoke. You can actually throw the smoke to bounce off, and I successfully did this previously in one of the earlier rounds in the matchup, but here on round 12, I actually missed it entirely. It went all the way up on the platform, leaving the lower entrance to one of the stairs to be completely open to the T side to take. And to further expand on that misuse of utility over on B ramp, a lot of a very common strategy is to be able to utilize incendiary nades or Molotovs to be able to stop rushes from the T side. Now, I tended to do this a bit in this matchup, but in this particular round, I actually didn't end up doing too well when it comes to utilizing the utility that I had in hand, because what you should do in this position is you should hold the corner, and then once you see a T side member, you should just fall back, put the incendiary down, and fall back to a passive position to hold from a different angle. What I didn't do that. I put the incendiary up on the ramp position, and then I refaced to ultimately lose my life and lose the site as a result. So a bit too aggressive from my part, a bit too overly confident, and a bit too far forward in that particular context. And again, if I just held back, if I just put the incendiary down, fell away towards the bomb train, that probably would have worked out a little bit better for me. In this round, I actually got a bomb plant, so I was able to secure a little bit more money for the T-side line. Unfortunately, the post plant is what I'm going to focus on here, because another thing to mention is spatial awareness. Now, I was thinking, I'll plant down default. What's not being covered here? Oh, I know. I'll go to heaven, and that way I can cover off the IV and T compositions because someone else is watching connector. Little did I know that in this 1 versus 2 scenario, it was me and my teammate, and he was already in heaven. And you can see actually on the footage that when I start walking up, I see him on my POV, and I'm like, oh, this is already covered. I've got to go back down. And when I get down the ladder, I'm faced in by an AWP. He gets his kill and then gets to the other side of the site, because I also stupidly didn't plant for heaven. I planted for red train. I planted for E-box. And as a result, when my teammate tries to face, he can't see his man. He can't get the kill. And when he tries to get into a position to get the kill, it doesn't go well because he's on 4 HP. So it's one of those situations where if I had paid a bit more attention to the minimap, if I had paid a bit more attention to my teammates' positions, then I possibly could have placed myself out towards Ivy potentially. Maybe I could have looked in from Sandwich to play a bit more of a bait situation. And that was a mistake on my part entirely. So here's a little clutch clip that I also won in round 25, which ultimately got us to our match point round as well. This was a bit of a weird situation because we were on a bit of a force invest. I had a Mac 10 in my hands with utility because we couldn't afford the full rifles. In a 1 versus 2 situation with the bomb down on default on the B side, I'm up in the brown halls with my SMG, and I've also got a HE and a Molotov as well. So if you're in this position, one of the common things you can do is molly off the bomb. And that's what I do. I molly the bomb. I also put a HE in there, which gets the kill on the player downstairs. Meanwhile, another teammate is creeping up on me from the ramp position. He's creeped up there. She's looking for me, and only by the sheer escape of luck, I'm able to flick back with a Mac 10 spray, get the kill win, also get the kill on the player down on site, and win the 1 versus 2. What I want to highlight here is actually the utility usage. The nade was able to get the kill on the player downstairs because he was already low, but I actually missed the Molotov. The bomb was down on default, and the Molotov went towards right side as opposed to on the site itself. Now, with the low HP, it was able to work out because when you hear that Molotov, you don't think, oh, he's going to go ahead and whiff it. You think to yourself, oh, crap, I'm about to die. And that was what ultimately won me the round, so I got a little bit lucky on that one. But you have to work on those angles a little bit if you want to try and put utility in the right placements, especially that Molotov. It's very easy to miss it. It looks so easy when you see it in professional matches, but when you try it yourself, sometimes it goes so awry. So definitely want to practice that one if you're on the team side, because it can be a very important Molotov that can win you a matchup. So all's well that ends well as we got the win, although I did get second from the bottom of the board, so it wasn't exactly a very professional match from my personal self, and you can very clearly see why. A lot of mistakes involved in this one. I wasn't fully warmed up for this game. I jumped into it last second. I'm very non-practiced when it comes to the CT defensive over on that B site. The T side as well had its own individual issues, and it's little things like that that can make the biggest differences. I honestly think that, again, in a couple other different worlds, if I didn't have some better teammates on my side, then we would have lost that one very easily. But it's moments like this where you get to improve, figure out where your mistakes are, and then you'll be able to take that into your next game, be able to do well in that one, and then you'll have yourself a couple more better results in that respect. So hope you learned a few things, particularly on what not to do as opposed to what you should do, although I hope you also picked up a few things on that as well. And again, I do hope that you at home have learned a few things as well. You can learn even more by watching the Pinnacle Cup. Again, it's well into its first round of the Swiss stage as of now, the time I'm recording this. So make sure you're tuning in on Twitch to keep yourselves up to date with all of the action that is ongoing at this particular stage. But next time here on the YouTube channel, we're doing more tips and tricks on the CT and T sides and how to play the respective roles of the half. So be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell to be alerted for when that comes out. And until that point, I'll see you in the future video. Till then, though, take care and see you soon.